One moment, these artists were performing, and the next, they were gone. These are harsh realities faced by entertainers whose lives were tragically cut short during live performances, leaving their fans and communities to process the unimaginable. In this video, we'll take a look at the heartbreaking stories of musicians, comedians, and broadcasters who met their untimely deaths while doing what they loved. Number 1. Mitsuharu Misawa. Mitsuharu Misawa was born on June 18, 1962, in Wajima, Japan. Misawa became a key figure in the history of Japanese wrestling, known for his groundbreaking style, athleticism, and ability to connect with fans on an emotional level. Misawa was initially wrestling under the ring name Tiger Mask 2. However, he assumed the role of Mitsuharu Misawa in the late 1980s, following the tragic death of his mentor, the original Tiger Mask, and that is when his career truly took off. Throughout his career, Misawa was known for his ability to blend speed, strength, and technical skill in ways that were revolutionary for time. He was a master of the suplex, a move that became his signature, and his matches were known for their intensity, physicality, and unpredictability. His feuds with fellow wrestling legends like Kenta Kobashi, Toshiaki Kawada, and Akira Toa helped define an entire era of Japanese wrestling, with their matches becoming iconic for their brutal yet poetic storytelling. Sadly, it was in the ring where Misawa's career and life would come to a tragic and untimely end. On June 13, 2009, Misawa was participating in a tag team match during a live event in Hiroshima, Japan. The match was like many others he had participated in before. Highly anticipated, intense, and filled with moments of greatness. But in one tragic moment, Misawa's life changed forever. After being lifted for a suplex by his opponent, Misawa collapsed in the ring, falling limp and unresponsive. At first, no one realized the gravity of the situation. Fans, wrestlers, and officials thought it was part of the match's storyline, a dramatic moment designed to build suspense. But it later became clear that something was horribly wrong. The live broadcast of the match turned somber as medical personnel rushed to Misawa's aid, performing CPR right there in the ring. Despite the swift response from doctors and wrestlers, Misawa had suffered a severe spinal cord injury during the suplex, and he was quickly transported to a nearby hospital. Tragically, Misawa was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the hospital, leaving the wrestling world heartbroken. To lose such a legendary figure in such a tragic manner, right in the middle of the ring, was unfathomable. Misawa was a hero, not just in Japan, but globally. His fans and colleagues mourned the loss of someone who had helped shape the industry into what it is today. For those who had witnessed his matches, Misawa's death was especially heartbreaking because of the high regard in which he was held. Number 2. Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin was a name that became synonymous with wildlife conservation, adventure, and a fearless love for animals. As the star of The Crocodile Hunter, Irwin captivated audiences around the world with his energetic personality and his deep connection to nature. His fearless antics, wrestling crocodiles, handling snakes, and exploring the wild, made him a beloved figure. Irwin's passion for educating the world about animals and conservation was unparalleled, and he became an icon for wildlife enthusiasts everywhere. But on September 4th, 2006, the world lost Steve Irwin in the most tragic of circumstances, while he was filming a documentary called Ocean's Deadliest in the Waters off the Great Barrier Reef, Australia. It was supposed to be another day of adventure, as Steve and his crew explored the ocean to film the behavior of the world's most dangerous marine creatures. Little did anyone know, this would be his last encounter with the wild animals he so loved. As he snorkeled in the water, Irwin came into close contact with an 8-foot stingray. Typically a peaceful creature, the stingray suddenly turned defensive as Irwin swam too close. In a split second, the stingray's barb struck Irwin in the chest, piercing his heart. This was no ordinary injury. It was fatal. The pain and shock were immediate, but despite the severity of the wound, Steve's crew quickly pulled him from the water, desperately trying to revive him. Efforts to save Steve were frantic, but ultimately unsuccessful. Despite the heroic attempt to save his life, Irwin was pronounced dead soon after being rushed to the hospital. At just 44 years old, the world lost a figure who had inspired millions with his passion for wildlife and conservation. What makes his death even more heart-wrenching is the fact that the incident was caught on film. But out of respect for Irwin's family and legacy, the footage was never publicly released. The world's admiration for Steve Irwin was immense. Steve Irwin's death was tragic, but his legacy endures. His work in wildlife conservation, his TV shows, and his passion for educating the public about the planet's most misunderstood creatures continue to inspire. Irwin may have passed, but his impact on wildlife conservation and his lasting presence in the hearts of millions of fans remains stronger than ever. Number 3. Pedro Enrique. Pedro Enrique was a gifted guitarist known for his electrifying stage presence and exceptional skill. Enrique was quickly becoming one of the brightest stars in Brazilian music. His performances were nothing short of captivating, filled with passion and energy that resonated deeply with fans and fellow musicians. Enrique was talented. He had worked hard to carve out a name for himself in the competitive music industry, performing with some of Brazil's most prominent bands and establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with. Whether he was delivering soulful solos or shredding with electrifying riffs, his mastery of the guitar was evident in every note he played. The future seemed limitless for Pedro, and his rising star was shining brighter every day. But on March 12, 2023, that bright future was tragically cut short. Pedro Enrique was performing at a music festival in Sao Paulo, one of the most important stages for any musician. His fans were dancing to the music, and everything was okay at first. Enrique suddenly collapsed on stage, and the music stopped. The excitement in the air turned to confusion and fear as his bandmates rushed to his side. Immediately, emergency personnel were called to the scene, and they rushed Enrique to a nearby hospital. But despite the best efforts to revive him, he was sadly pronounced dead upon arrival. The cause of death was later revealed to be a heart attack. It was tragic and unexpected. Someone so young, just 39 years old. Enrique's sudden passing was so touching. He was just at the height of his career. His fans loved him and enjoyed his music. To lose him in the prime of his life was devastating news to everyone who knew him. His death wasn't just a loss of a talented musician. It was a loss of a rising star who had so much more to give. Fans mourned not just the music that Enrique had already given them, but the music he could have created. Life can happen to anyone, no matter how talented and promising someone is. Pedro Enrique may be gone, but his contribution to Brazilian music will never be forgotten. Number 4. Juan Jambulan. Juan Jambulan was a beloved Filipino radio personality whose life was tragically stolen during a live broadcast. Juan Jambulan wasn't just any radio host. He was a voice that made his listeners feel the moment. He is known for his lighthearted and humorous style. He spreads good vibes daily on 94.7 Gold Mega Coloma FM. His show wasn't about controversy or hard-hitting news. It was all about fun jokes and keeping the community smiling. He wasn't involved in any sort of scandal or controversial reporting. He wanted to make people laugh and start their day on a positive side. But on November 5th, 2023, we lost him. It was an early morning like any other, and Juan was live on the air, doing what he did best. But outside the radio station, 2 men arrived under the pretense of making an announcement about lost belongings. It was a ruse. One of them held a staff member at gunpoint while the other entered the radio booth and shot Juan Jambulan twice. Just like that, a life filled with laughter and joy was taken away in an instant, and the world lost a truly genuine soul. The entire attack was caught on a Facebook live stream, and viewers around the world were left in shock. Juan's death wasn't linked to any sort of controversial reporting or public feud. It was simply a senseless act of violence. His life ended in the cruelest, most unjust way. It was devastating. His sudden loss left a massive void in the community, a place that had always looked forward to his cheerful voice every morning. Juan wasn't just a radio personality. He was a friend to his listeners. Number 5. S.B. Hashian. When you think of classic rock, the iconic sounds of the 70s and 80s come to mind. The kind of music that shaped generations. And the heart of that sound was S.B. Hashian, the legendary drummer for the band Boston. His sweet rhythms were the driving force behind some of the most unforgettable rock anthems of all time, including hits like More Than a Feeling and Don't Look Back. S.B. Hashian's drumming became synonymous with the band's signature sound. But his untimely passing on March 22nd, 2017, would leave an empty space in the hearts of his fans and in the world of classic rock. On the day of his death, Hashian was performing aboard the Legends of Rock cruise, a themed cruise featuring classic rock bands, as it sailed off the coast of the United States. As the audience rocked out to the beats, no one could have expected what would happen next. In the middle of his performance, SB suddenly collapsed on stage. The crowd's excitement turned to panic as immediate medical attention was administered. But despite their best efforts, Hashian was pronounced dead shortly after. While fans were still trying to process the shock, speculation began swirling. Many reports revealed that Hashian had been battling kidney cancer in the months leading up to performance. Some believe that the struggle may have been a contributing factor to his death. Was it the weight of the disease that led to his sudden collapse? Whatever the cause, one thing was clear. The loss of SB Hashian was felt deeply across the world of classic rock. For his fans, his passing was more than the loss of a talented musician. It was the end of an era. His drumming had defined the sound of Boston and influenced countless artists in the years that followed. To lose someone who gave so much to the world of music, especially in such a shocking manner, was depressing. But even as we mourn his loss, we also celebrate his life and the music he helped create, forever cementing his legacy in rock history. Number 6. Dick Shawn. Dick Shawn was a beloved comedian and actor who tragically died during a live performance. On April 17, 1987, Dick Shawn was on stage at the University of California, San Diego, delivering his routine like he had countless times before. Known for his quick wit and eccentric humor presence, he had the audience in stitches. But in the middle of his set, something unexpected happened. Shawn suddenly collapsed on stage. At first, the audience thought it was just part of the act. After all, this was a comedian known for his outrageous antics. It seemed almost too surreal to be real. But it quickly became apparent that this wasn't a joke. Dick Shawn had suffered a heart attack right there on stage. What was meant to be a night of laughter quickly turned into a moment of panic. Shawn was rushed to the hospital, but despite the best efforts to save him, he was pronounced dead shortly afterward. Shawn was 63 years old, and his sudden death, while performing, was a reminder of how fragile life can be. It wasn't just his fans who were left reeling. His fellow comedians were deeply affected, too. To lose one of their own in such a shocking, unexpected way left an indelible mark on the industry. Dick Shawn had been a master of his craft, leaving behind a legacy of laughter that would continue long after his death. But for those who had seen him perform, that night will forever be remembered as the moment when comedy took a dark, tragic turn. 1 minute you're laughing. The next, you're left with a memory of a great comedian who was taken too soon. Number 7. Lillian Harden Armstrong. Lillian Harden Armstrong was a force in the world of jazz, a woman whose music not only shaped the sound of an era, but also left an indelible mark on the genre itself. Born on February 3, 1898, in Memphis, Tennessee, Lillian was a talented pianist, composer, arranger, and singer. She became known for her performances with jazz bands and her collaborations with some of the biggest names in music, including her second husband, the legendary Louis Armstrong. Together, Lillian and Louis created magic, both in their music and in their personal lives. But Lillian's impact on jazz went far beyond her relationship with Louis. She was an accomplished artist in her own right, known for her rich, soulful sound and her contributions to jazz that helped define the genre. Her career was filled with remarkable performances and achievements, and she played a key role in shaping the jazz scene during her time. However, as bright as her legacy shone, it was also overshadowed by the cold hands of death. On the 6th of July in 1971, Louis Armstrong, her beloved husband, passed away. The loss of Louis made her go into depression, but she carried on, even in the face of her own sorrow, preparing to honor him as the world mourned his death. On August 27, 1971, just weeks after her husband's funeral, Lillian was performing at a televised memorial concert for Louis in New York City. It was meant to be a tribute to the man who had meant everything to her and to the music that had defined their lives together. But in a tragic twist of fate, Lillian collapsed at the piano during the performance. The audience still grieving the loss of Louis watched in horror as Lillian's life came to a sudden and tragic end. Despite being rushed to the hospital, she was pronounced dead shortly after. She was 73 years old. Her death was just after the funeral of her husband. The two had been inseparable, both personally and musically, and to lose them both in such a short period of time was devastating. Lillian's passing wasn't just a loss of a talented musician. It was a loss of a woman whose love and dedication to the art of jazz had touched generations. The emotional weight of her death was felt by many, as she had been a true trailblazer, a remarkable talent in her own right, and a partner of one of the most influential figures in the history of jazz. Lillian Hardin Armstrong's legacy, however, continues to live on. Her music, her contributions to the genre, and her unbreakable bond with Louis Armstrong will never be forgotten. Number 8. KK. KK, Krishna Kumar Kanath, was more than just a name in the Indian music industry. He was a voice that resonated deeply with fans across the country. He was born on August 23, 1968, in Delhi. From his early days as a playback singer to becoming one of the most beloved voices in Bollywood, KK's soulful and emotive voice captured the hearts of millions. His career spanned decades, with his music touching the lives of fans across India and beyond. KK lent his voice to countless songs in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Bengali, becoming the go-to singer for romantic ballads and soul-stirring melodies. Songs like Tadap Tadap, Dil De Chukai Sonam, and Ankan Main Tere became anthems, earning him a place in the hearts of millions. His voice was unique, rich, powerful, and capable of expressing emotions like few others could. KK's versatility was unmatched, effortlessly switching between genres and languages to create music that resonated with listeners from all walks of life. His contributions to Bollywood music were significant, and his presence in the industry was undeniable. But his journey, filled with soaring highs, was tragically cut short in a way no one could have ever expected. On May 31st, 2022, KK was performing at a concert in Kolkata at the Nazrul Mancha Auditorium. It was meant to be another unforgettable night, another chance for fans to experience the magic of his voice live. But as he performed, something went terribly wrong. KK suddenly collapsed on stage, shocking the audience and the crew. The medical team rushed to his side, and he was immediately rushed to a nearby hospital. But it was too late. He was pronounced dead upon arrival, just 54 years old. The cause of his death was later confirmed as a cardiac arrest. His fans, celebrities, and fellow musicians were left in disbelief. Losing him so suddenly, especially while he was doing what he loved, left an irreplaceable gap in the music industry. KK's death was particularly heartbreaking for his fans, who had grown up listening to his music, dancing to his songs, and finding comfort in his voice. His passing at the young age of 54 felt like a personal loss to many. As the music world mourned, KK's legacy lived on in the songs he left behind. His voice will forever echo through the hearts of those who loved him, and his music will continue to inspire and comfort for years to come. KK may have been taken too soon, but his spirit lives on in every note he sang, in every lyric he touched, and in the memories he created with his fans. Number 9. Kostatich. Kostatich was a rising star in the South African music scene. He is known for his high-energy performances and captivating beats. His unique blend of hip-hop and amapiano made him a standout in the rapidly evolving South African music scene. Costa's music was more than just a soundtrack. It was an experience. His fans flocked to his shows, eager to be swept up in the rhythm and raw energy of his performances. But on March 11, 2023, during one of the biggest stages of his career, tragedy struck in a way no one could have anticipated. Kostatich was performing at the Ultra South Africa Music Festival in Johannesburg, an event that brought together some of the country's biggest music talents and thousands of fans. Mid-performance, Costa suddenly collapsed on stage. The crowd, initially unaware of what had just occurred, continued to cheer, believing it was part of the show. But as the seconds stretched into moments of silence, it became clear that something was seriously wrong. Costa had collapsed not once, but twice, and the second fall proved to be fatal. Despite immediate medical attention and quick intervention by paramedics, Costa was pronounced dead shortly after the incident. He was just 28 years old. In the days that followed, speculation about Costa's cause of death began to circulate. While no official cause was confirmed, fans and the media were left grappling with the uncertainty surrounding his sudden death. What really happened to a man who had been full of life just moments before? Just maybe there was a hidden condition. Kostatich was one of the most promising new talents in the industry, and his passing was a sad one. His fans, who had adored his music and eagerly followed his rise, were left devastated by the loss. The energy he brought to every stage, the passion he poured into his craft, and the joy he shared with his audience were all gone in an instant. And while questions surrounding his cause of death remain unanswered, one thing is for certain. Kostatich's music and legacy will live on in the hearts of his fans, continuing to inspire and influence a generation of artists who followed in his footsteps. Number 10. Tommy Cooper. On April 15, 1984, during one of Tommy Cooper's live TV performances, Cooper, a magician known for mixing comedy with his magic tricks, was in the middle of his act, as always, trying to entertain with his bumbling, clownish style. But this time, something was different. As he continued with his routine, Cooper suddenly clutched his chest and collapsed backward onto stage. For the audience watching at home and the live studio crowd, it wasn't immediately clear that something was terribly wrong. Tommy Cooper had built his entire career on deliberate mistakes, slapstick humor, and making people laugh by pretending to mess up his magic tricks. So, when he collapsed, the audience initially thought it was just part of the act. They laughed and applauded, thinking it was just another humorous blunder. But the situation was far more serious. The show's host, Jimmy Tarbuck, along with other performers, rushed to Cooper's side, realizing something was terribly wrong. The cameras, however, stayed on the stage, capturing confusion as they tried to revive him. Unaware of the severity of the situation, Tommy Cooper had suffered a massive heart attack right there on stage. Despite the best efforts of medical staff, he was rushed to the hospital, where he was sadly pronounced dead shortly after. His sudden passing, right in front of his audience, left the world in shock. For those who had seen him perform for years, the loss was felt deeply. Tommy Cooper wasn't just a magician. He was a legend in the world of comedy and entertainment, known for his unique blend of humor and magic. To have lost him in such a shocking and unexpected way. Number 11. Carl Wenda. Carl Wenda was a name synonymous with courage, skill, and the thrill of high-wire artistry. Born in 1905, Wenda became one of the most renowned tightrope walkers of his time, captivating audiences with his breathtaking stunts and fearlessness. For over 5 decades, he walked across narrow wires suspended high above the ground, performing acts that left crowds on the edge of their seats. Known for his incredible balance and precision, Wenda's performances were nothing short of legendary. His feats often involved walking across impossible distances, high above cities or between towering structures. The higher the wire, the greater the applause. But Wenda, even in his later years, remained unafraid. His talent and showmanship earned him a place among the greatest high-wire artists in history, and his name became inseparable from the term death-defying. However, on March 22, 1978, Carl Wenda's legendary career came to a tragic end. At 73 years old, Wenda was still performing some of the most daring stunts of his life. This particular performance was unlike any other. Wenda had set up a high wire between 2 hotel towers in San Juan, Puerto Rico, a breathtaking act that was destined to captivate the audience below. The towering heights and the razor-thin wire added a level of danger that few would have dared to face. But for Carl Wenda, it was just another challenge, another performance he was ready to conquer. As he made his way across the wire, the wind began to pick up, creating an unexpected and dangerous challenge. Known for his ability to adapt to the elements, he had performed in all kinds of weather before, but on that day, the wind was too strong. The gust threw him off balance, and in an instant, Wenda lost his footing. The crowd watched in horror as the high-wire artist, who had defied death countless times before, plunged to the ground below. Despite his extensive experience and the incredible number of successful high-wire acts he had completed over the years, the forces of nature proved to be too much on that fateful day. The strong wind caused Wenda to lose his balance, and in the blink of an eye, his life was tragically cut short. His death, while performing one of the most daring feats of his long and celebrated career, was a heartbreaking moment for the world of circus arts. Wenda had spent his life walking the line between danger and artistry, and to lose him in such a sudden and tragic way was a painful reminder of the risks that come with the most extreme forms of performance. Carl Wende was a true pioneer, a man who pushed the boundaries of what was possible on the high wire and inspired countless others to pursue their own daring dreams. Number 12. Colonel Bruce Hampton. Colonel Bruce Hampton was more than just a musician. He was an icon, a pioneer in the world of jam bands, and a beloved figure in the music community. For decades, Hampton's influence on the jam band scene was undeniable. Known for his unique blend of blues, jazz, and rock, Hampton became a key figure in the genre, shaping the sound of countless bands and leaving a legacy that would influence generations of musicians. His career spanned more than 50 years, during which he earned a reputation for his eclectic performances, his soulful voice, and his dedication to improvisation. Hampton was a leader of the Aquarium Rescue Unit and a founding member of the Hampton Grease Band, groups that became iconic in the jam band world. His performances were known for their unpredictability, humor, and passion, traits that made him a fan favorite and a respected figure among his peers. But on May 1st, 2017, at the age of 70, Colonel Bruce Hampton's legendary career came to an unexpected and tragic end. It was supposed to be a celebration, a 70th birthday concert in Atlanta, Georgia, where Hampton would be performing with friends and fellow musicians. But in the middle of the show, something went terribly wrong. Hampton, who had always been known for his theatrical style, suddenly collapsed on stage. At first, the audience thought it was part of his performance. Hampton had always pushed boundaries and played with the idea of dramatic pauses and quirky moments on stage. Hampton began to show signs of distress, and the reality of the situation started to settle in. Medical personnel rushed to his side, and the concert came to a halt. Despite the quick response and the best efforts of the medical team, Colonel Bruce Hampton was pronounced dead shortly after being rushed to the hospital. What made his death even more poignant was the fact that he had passed away doing what he loved, performing for his fans, creating music, and sharing his gift with the world. His death, though tragic, was a reminder of the passion and dedication he brought to the stage every time he picked up his guitar. In the days that followed, tributes poured in from fellow musicians, friends, and fans who remembered Colonel Bruce Hampton not only for his musical contributions, but also for the way he lived his life. With humor, authenticity, and his commitment to his art, he was a man who taught us that music wasn't just about playing notes. It was about creating moments and embracing the unpredictable. Colonel Bruce Hampton may have left this world too soon, but his legacy lives on through the music he created, the countless artists he inspired, and the indelible mark he left on the jam band community. These performers, who dedicate their lives to entertaining us, often face dangers that go unnoticed until it's too late. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.